that song and that music video came out in 2019. So Water Under the Bridge. That's my favorite Dreamboat song. So let me
Cool.
give you some insight into the first time I saw that video. So, we're all friends on social media. And I remember you guys posting, hey, we have a new music video, Water Under the Bridge. And I remember the first time I watched it, I was blown away, and I thought they've done it. Like they've written a great song that's worthy of the band. They've made a great quality recording that's worthy of the band. They've made a music video that captures the image of the band. Like, to me, when I saw that, I was like, they've done it. Like, this is, in a nutshell, if I had to on a silver platter present the Dreamboats, where it's undeniable song, undeniable recording, undeniable music, undeniable image in the music video. This is it. And I remember, like, that video has like 30 or 40,000 plays, probably like 700 of them are for me in the first week that you release that
Nice.
video. I sent it to my parents. Like, I sent it to all the people that I knew you guys. And yeah, I guess I just wanted to say, like, how proud I was when I saw that video, that you guys had
Thanks.
you had knocked it out of the park. So I have a few
Thanks.
questions about the video we can get into.
Sure.
No,
As
shout
well.
out to Brian Fligg on that one as well. And like, yeah, like just we were trying to just do our best to get the image of an original band going. We were working with like a publicist at the time and stuff too. And it's yeah, I'm glad that at least got the point across to you at the joint. And it was definitely our ode to Palm Springs. I will say that.
Yeah, there was
sure.
a lot of mixed reaction, not mixed reactions in the sense that it really mattered, but a lot of people were coming out with this single. It had been a few years, and then it was this like kind of slower song, and everyone was just like, oh, some people were like, oh, it's rock and roll. And I remember just hearing it for the first time. I'm like, yo, I want to release this song. Like, this is great. Let's just get it out, So it's cool that you said that. And we got a lot of good compliments. But you had some questions about the video?
Yeah. So apparently there was like a lot of help that showed up, people that helped in the making of that video. So it's great. Like, the quality of the video is amazing, like some slow motion stuff, a nice pool and vintage cars and bikes. And apparently it's like Palm Springs itself showed up big time for you guys. So can you give some shout outs of how this all came together?
Totally. And Chris is going to interject, but I'm just going to start with it.
He already knows that Chris.
No, I know you're throwing your little tidbits,
Okay.
but like, this is classic Dreamboats fashion. Okay. We're just like, we got to release a video for this. We're like, what do we do? So we called up Eric Soto, our videographer, and we flew him in. And we didn't even have like a game plan.
No, we had a rough game.
Not at first, though. Not at first.
Okay.
I remember sitting with him in the backyard. And he was like, what are we doing?
We'll put it this way. When it comes to like a game plan, you know what I mean? Like, you have ideas, but the question is, when you get down here with very limited budget,
yeah,
which one of those ideas are going to be able to put into play? I
Yeah.
think, but there was
there was rough ideas of creating this kind of vibe, but like no storyboard or anything. What it turned out into being was just, we reached out to everyone we kind of knew. We're like, okay, well, we're gonna get shots. We need shots with a car. So we're like, who do we know who has a car? We need shots of the cul-de-sac, this court out in Palm Springs. It's this iconic court. We knew someone who lived there, so we're like, oh, let's call them up. And Chris Mobley, who's the head of Modernism Week, he lives on there. So we're like, hey, can we get use of the court? And he was just like, sure. And they cleared out the whole court for a whole afternoon for us. And like,
yeah, we did both the year anniversary parties for Arrive Hotel, a pretty hip hotel that just opened around at the time, and they just said, use our facility.
We're like, hey, we need your event space. They're like, yeah, just use it. So they gave us the space. And then the person with the vintage cars, it was supposed to just be shots of us with the vintage car. And then he was like, do you want shots driving the vintage car? We're like, all right. So we got these shots with the vintage car. And then because we didn't have a team with us, I remember there was a moment there where Chris Mobley, the head of Modernism Week, was literally driving our rental van. And we had Eric Soto, our videographer, dangling out the back of the rental van down the main drag of Palm Springs, holding his camera, just following us in this car, everyone looking at us. And Mike Heatherman, one of the main sponsors that brings us down here, he was like driving the vehicle.
No videographers were harmed in the making of this music.
I don't know, Eric's pride maybe, but no, I'm just kidding. So it was all grassroots. And as Eric would say, when the backdrop is California, you don't need to worry about lighting as much. It's just beautiful every day. There's not a cloud in the sky. So it's just really easy to capture good scenes if you have the right equipment, and which he did. So Eric did a great job. Shout out to Eric Soto on that video too.
It was just one of those things where like Palm Springs, as soon as we got here, like it was, where we're from. I mean, we're Mississauga boys, thorough suburbanite kids, and then we got over here and we just knocked like a Modernism Week party out of the park. That was apparently somewhat of a cool thing over here. For the season, big celebration, modern architecture. Our reputation just grew like in a second. Like I feel like we got more momentum in 2 weeks here in Palm Springs than we had, and this isn't a jab at Mississauga, it just is what it is, like 7 years playing bars in Mississauga. You know what I mean? Like it was just like
Toronto in general. Yeah.
It was just like we were just so quickly embraced in this area, and given some really cool opportunities, and walking around town with Dreamboats jackets and people like picking you off the side, being like, "You're in the Dreamboats," or like, "Awesome, yeah!" Like it's like such a small, cliquey town here in the desert. But like I said, we were just embraced. The people are so sweet to us over here, and they're so supportive and amazing. And like it's great. And then this video was just simply just being like, "Thank you for everything, and this is what we love about your area." And if we can kind of put in a couple of different scenes that make you be like, "Oh, I know that," or "I know this person," or "I know this area," and just that's what we want to kind of capture with the whole thing.
There was a whole edit of the video that did hit get dropped on the cutting room floor. There's a lot of scenes there where we're just like, we're not gonna release these. Like we were like eating ice cream and we're on these bikes and stuff, and we're just like,
Johnny in nothing but a bow tie is just all that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of locations.
You need to make a Dreamboats OnlyFans and put that picture behind a paywall. That might be the biggest pay jump you guys ever get.
No, Johnny needs to start that one up right there.
Hey, I will transfer $13 if you make that happen.
All right.
You can get more ice cream with it and take more pictures.
That's too much.
We'll upscale, yeah.
Call it 5 CAD. We'll do just fine.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So we're at the final 2 releases in the Dreamboats discography. So we have a 5-song EP in 2021, Back to the Start, which has another awesome album cover. So it has the songs Lights Down Low, Back to the Start, What I Love About You, I'm Talking About You, and Leave Me Alone. Leave Me Alone is my favorite song from that EP. It's a little darker, which what's the poke for?
Oh, because like I just think it was like a Dreamboat-esque. It was like for me at the time when I was singing it.
The lyrics are a little darker.
Lyrics are dark, yeah. And there's a part of me that'd be like, at the time, I didn't know if I could relate to him as much, and I was actually suggesting like, "Johnny, man, sing this song, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sing it." But at the time, too, he just thought I should sing it and whatnot. And as much as I thought that it wasn't the strongest song that I did, it seems to be the favorite song from everybody. You know what I mean? Like, so
not
no, like every person I ask, "What's your favorite song?" Like 80% of them are saying it's "Leave Me Alone."
No,
there you go. People can just relate to the darkness in the lyrics.
Exactly.
Misery loves company, but Johnny made up for it with the next release. So, Hello Josephine. In 2022, so this year, and this is your recorded vocal debut. So I guess. Well, one question for the Back to the Start EP in 2021, then we'll get to Hello Josephine. So actually both of those are recorded during the pandemic. So I guess I wanted to know what the challenges were of writing, recording, and releasing an album or some songs during a pandemic.
Oh man, it's striking another chord.
Yeah, I was gonna say Chris looks like exhausted just thinking about
no. Well, like,
can we even kick it off? Okay, sorry.
Kick off.
I was just gonna kick it off, even just with the whole pandemic thing. I'm just being very vulnerable right now. When the pandemic hit, obviously we had a bit of a lineup change we went through. We won't get into that too much, but there was a moment there where it was just Richie and I in the band. That was it. And we were sitting in our rehearsal space, and I really struggled there a lot. Like if I even wanted to still be playing in this band, be making music and things like that. And Richie here really pulled me out and continues to pull me out of these places, when I'm down. He's always been there. And during that time, so we're sitting in our rehearsal space, pandemic, it's a lockdown. We're sneaking out, going to our place. He's the only guy I'm kind of seeing outside of my bubble. And we're just sitting there. I'm all like depressed, and we had a few songs we'd written, and all of a sudden, Nick, our guitar player, joined the band, and we were just like, we should just record an EP. Let's just do it on our own and not overthink it. And just, we're in lockdown. Let's just record it here. Well, I have gear. You guys have gear. Let's just do it on our own. And I'd been recording some of our demos. It was coming out okay. So we're like, yeah. And that was a bit of a glimmer of hope. It's something to look forward to. We're like, we're not going to overthink these songs. We're just going to make decisions on the fly and we're going to get it done. So we set up, we rented all this gear and we mic'd everything up in our rehearsal space. And we just started recording it on our own. I mean, Nick had done some recording. I'd done recording with a little 2-channel like interface, but for the most part, we rented a little 8-channel thing and recorded the whole thing on our own. And then the idea was initially to send it off to someone to mix it. So we were just going to capture the audio and send it to a professional person to mix it. We tried with a few people. So either people weren't getting back or weren't responding to us or didn't want to do it. And one person we tried using, we got a mix back and it wasn't sounding good. So we're just like, I'm gonna mix it. So I mixed the whole album. And we, you know, Joel, we went to the same school. I don't really know what I'm doing. So it was a big painstaking process of like doing a mix, bouncing it out, listening in my car, listening here, blah, blah, blah. Oh, this is too whatever, carve this out, EQ, whatever. And I think, you know, for the most part, within my abilities, I think it came out pretty well. I'm very proud of it. It was my first time mixing anything for a professional release, and I think it was cool. It went with the whole do-it-yourself vibe of the album. I don't know, Chris. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think it was definitely one of those kind of things where like, you know what, we got to do something.
Yeah,
we can't be sitting here twiddling our thumbs here. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not gonna lie, the Canadian government made it pretty easy on us. You know what I'm saying?
Which we got a grant.
Which makes you even fall into like, you know, well, even just like just getting served. You know what I mean? Like we live in such a beautiful country. I'm sorry. It's just like, man, like under the circumstances, you know, I finally actually had some money in my pocket. It was kind of great. I'm just joking. But at the end of the day, we had to kind of be like, you know, we're here. We don't have any live performances going. How are we going to keep some content going? I don't want people to think that this band is fizzling out. You know, we just made an announcement saying that there's a lineup change, you know, and we're still figuring out new members, holding auditions. You know, we got songs that we were going to be recording with the other lineup before that we might, you know, that we're going to be recording now, and, you know, figuring out what we should be doing. And then just, I think that whole moment, why even it was named Back to the Start, was just try to find like a reason for yourselves and inspiration. We literally just got off receiving 2 Mississauga awards prior to even doing the announcement of the band, you know, switch up or whatnot. We just won Best Live Act of the Year and Artists of the Year. You know what I mean? And then like we don't even have like a full band
behind
right
the
now.
scenes. Like we didn't even announce that. It was just the 2 of us.
It was just we're showing up to the thing.
Time.
It was just showing up to the Get Your Award and just smiles and just like, you know, but like it's like, holy shit, what's going on? You know what I mean? And so I can imagine anyone being in a situation of feeling like, A, you don't got a band, B, you know, you're in the middle of a pandemic where your whole career is based on bringing people together and the whole world will scream at you and like disown you if you ever even thought about it at that point. You know, so it's like, you know, a lot of crazy things going on. So to answer your question, it was a lot of emotion going in during that time, and we just wanted to do our best to be like, you know what, let's just put the blinders on here for a bit and let's just like do something that's fun and gives us purpose and gives us inspiration and direction, and we'll record it and we'll kind of figure out, you know, we were at the time too figuring out, okay, well, should we be the cover thing? Has being like an original and cover thing been something, this is our moment now if we're gonna jump?
Yeah, we almost were thinking of releasing it under a different band name.
You know, so there's a lot of like so much,
yeah,
like,
a lot
and
behind
imagine
the
that.
scenes.
Imagine like having this baby that is the Dreamboats, that like you put all your eggs in that basket for that moment, and it just being like one moment, you know, your city is embracing you as like the best live act or the, you know, what artist of the year or something, and you can't even freaking get a gig if your life depended on it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's so much that was going on, and then you know, Johnny was, you know, thankfully at the time he was doing some cool demos, and I was like, I love the sound of these demos. And then and he just underplays himself so much, this guy. You know what I mean? He's just like, oh, those are like
so humble.
He's so ridiculous.
A good Canadian boy,
like,
you know,
strangling himself, be like, you're awesome, believe it. And then we recorded it, And then it just started sounding good. And he's doing these bouncing mixes. We're trying to look for people to chase down for mixes. I'm like, these guys aren't going to know it the way you know it anyway. The way you feel like this, you are this band. You know what I'm saying, Johnny? Like, you know what this is about. You know what I mean? Like, so do it if you want. You know, we got a little bit of fundage. If you want to spend fundage, cool.
It was a labor of love.
You know, it was a labor of love. You know, he definitely let us know once in a while when it was just
becoming like, guys, I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I'm like in my room. I'm mixing on like my speakers. I'm in GarageBand. I mixed that whole thing in GarageBand.
That whole thing was done in GarageBand.
Everything, and I really like how it came out.
I love the way it came out.
Considering I don't have any.
I love the way it came out. So like,
yeah. I feel your pain having recorded plenty of stuff on crappy equipment before taking audio engineering. So I know what that feels like, the mixing it down and it sounds good here, but not here, and not on headphones, and not in the car, and not in earbuds, and one little tweak and bouncing it down again. And
it's definitely, like I said, a mixture of seeing frustration in that end. Like I said, some of the darkest moments, like, yo, Johnny and I were shedding tears in that, like, no joke, man. Like,
it was
shedding
very
tears
emotional.
in that freaking like rehearsal space, man. Like, I'm just being like, what the F is going on? What's happening? And what are we doing? Like, is this even worth continuing? Like, we're you know,
couldn't even do auditions with people. It was taboo. It was during a lockdown. We're like, well, we got a virtual gig coming up. Who are we gonna play it with? You know, it was such a stressful, dark time in the history of the Dreamboats. But you know,
and you do your best to just kind of push through it, and like, you know what I mean. And we struggle with things every day. You know what I'm saying? And like, and it's important, like I said, to just make sure you get the right team behind you, you know, and if you're not feeling things, you know what I mean, you got to do your best to address it, and just like, and talk. Like, man, like I said, this has been a relationship between Johnny and I since like 2009. Like, this is like, you know what I mean? And Joel, you know, like managing band relationships, man. Like, come on, you know what I'm saying? Like, how easy is that, right?
We've all grown too.
You know?
We're like different people than we were in 2009, you know. And it's like, it's in many ways, it's like a marriage, you know, where and
you evolve with the relationship the best you can, in different personalities and different needs and different wants, and the evolution of your financial, your love life, and all these things, and how it's got to coincide with like 4 or 3 different individuals is
I brought up when I was talking to Glenn of Blue Rodeo, I brought up that, you know, being in a band is like a marriage, except that, you know, it's hard enough to be married to one person where you're both infinitely complex and things are changing and
that's
whatever. And then I said, then I say, you know, but with a band, there's 4 of you or 7 of you, like, it's even harder. And then he had a funny comeback. He goes, well, in a band, members are allowed to leave, you know? So he kind of said, like, it's like a marriage, except that people can come and go, you know, in a band and not in a marriage. But anyways, it's you know, I only have to look after myself and I have a hard time, you know. Each of us are so complex and we don't know what we want, and things change and circumstances. So I get it, man, being in a band, how hard that is to navigate those waters with multiple people. You know?
You got to be on top of, like, to help the morale of the team. You know what I mean? Like, I've never, you know, I don't think anyone who looks themselves, everyone's got their own leadership roles within this band, but like, to really keep the morale of the team going on, it's got to be constant, where you get like you get little good things that help break and help. You know, we got the casino rest, awesome. You know, we got a little bit of money, you know, or we're playing here, or we met this person, or like, you know, even meeting or even seeing Glenn, or like even when Ronnie did the freaking party there for like celebrating his party and selling his land being divided. You know, he invited everyone over to his northern estate, and I just went to go see, you know, Blue Rodeo like 2 weeks ago, you know what I mean, at Massey Hall. And then next thing you know, we're playing at Ronnie's place, and, you know, Jim's there, and, you know, and seeing Colin on lead, and,
Rips,
you know, and then, you know, and drumming, and we're like, oh, this is like, we're here right now. We're seeing our freaking heroes right now, like playing in front of us, and we're playing after them. You know what I mean? Like, this is awesome. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, it's like little wins that help keep the morale of this band going here and there. And that's all you can hope for. And like, I can definitely use, you know, Glenn and crew as a moment for us. I'm being like, okay,